Good morning and evening, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on green supply chain management and agriculture. I'm your host, Gabriela Cabezas, a global market analyst in the intelligence department here at Tridge. And today we have a diverse group of people at various time zones across the world, and we are excited to have everyone join us this morning. So before we get started, I would definitely like to mention a couple of services we have here at Tridge. One of them is a social marketplace, and Tridge Social Marketplace is a global B2B marketplace platform for agribusiness designed to help buyers and suppliers connect, engage, and build a long-term relationship founded on trust. Within this, we have a two-way trust system, ease of business, social social by design, made for quality relationships, and it is powered by data. We would definitely like to mention and thank our sponsors today, Alfoa. We also have Geoyanando, and we also have Korean Jeansy Delights today. So thank you for joining us today for our webinar. We are excited to share with everyone from our speakers and our panelists today. By the end of our presentation today, you will be able to fill out our survey in order to get our certificate for your participation on today's webinar. A couple of things we're going to go over today. We're going to hear Tridge's perspective on sustainable agriculture. We are also going to hear insights from professionals at Technical University of Munich. And by the end, we will have a panel discussion where our participants will be able to answer some common questions. Again, thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Gabriela Cabezas, part of Tridge's intelligence team as a global market analyst. And today we have a wonderful team of presenters. We have Alper Akkurt, a global supply chain manager from Turkey. He will be joining us as a panelist today. We have Vivian Guan, a trade development member here at Tridge, and she will be a panelist as well. We have MC Nubilla, and he will join us as a speaker today, and he's a global market analyst here at Tridge. We have Aloha Ola, and he is a researcher, part of Munich University. And we have Elisa De Marchi, and she is an assistant professor. Both of them will be joining us as speakers today. We are excited to have everyone join this discussion. We know that we will have some enlightening insights today. Let's get started now with our presentation on Tridge's perspective on sustainable agriculture. MC, if you can please take over.
Okay, thank you so much, Gabby, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As Gabby said, my name is Zingain Dubio, and I'm a global market analyst here at Tridge. And I've been covering a variety of products over the past 5 years, including coffee, sugar, and value-added products. And during my time here at Tridge, I have definitely encountered this ongoing discussion regarding sustainable agriculture and the green supply chain. So I've come to present to you how we have approached this issue here at Tridge. Please go on to the next slide, Gabby. Okay, thank you, Gabby. So when it comes to the conversation regarding sustainable agriculture, we have noticed over the past few years that consumers have become particularly concerned regarding health and also the environmental impact that agriculture has. So this has led a lot of our stakeholders, suppliers, and buyers to become more concerned about um, how sustainable and how environmentally friendly their products are as they move across the supply chain. And Tridge is definitely very much engaged throughout this whole process. From one end, we empower our stakeholders by providing them with timely, up-to-date, comprehensive market intelligence regarding all the different trends occurring within the industry under this particular topic. We also collaborate and partner with our stakeholders as well as we assist them to implement a lot of sustainable agricultural practices. And also, we take part in the conversation regarding policy change. So, when it comes to the topic of empowering our stakeholders, we go about this through a variety of ways. So, through our market intelligence, we provide insights, analysis, opinions, updates, a variety of different types of intelligence that empower our stakeholders so they are very well aware of what's happening within the industry when it comes to this discussion of the green supply chain. So, as you can see to the right, we have a few of our opinions that we've developed regarding beanless coffee, which has been a reaction by some producers to kind of like produce their coffee in a sustainable way. Plant-based chocolate as well, another reaction to the same topic, and food tech startups. So these are examples of the type of intelligence that we do share with our stakeholders so that they remain abreast with what's happening within this industry regarding sustainable agriculture. And then to further the issue regarding how we empower our stakeholders, we also provide a wide variety of comprehensive and in-depth reports to our buyers and our suppliers. So we have premium reports that we do. And as you can see on the right, we cover a variety of topics from food waste upcycling to plant-based products. And our aim here is to provide solutions for the problems that our stakeholders notify us of. We also compile custom reports, which are very case specific to provide a particular supplier or buyer with a solution so that they can penetrate the market, so that they can find solutions as to how to make their supply chain more green, so to speak. Then, when it comes to the conversation regarding collaboration and partnership, as I said earlier, we work hand in hand with our stakeholders to make sure that they they can manage all their systems throughout the whole supply chain and implement different practices that will ensure that they have more um, green products. So we collaborate with them and assist them through this process. We also take part in policy making. We are part of these discussions, and as you can see on the right, I did add some pictures that show you some of the discussions that we have taken part in, and Vivian will share with you later regarding the types of collaborations that we have taken part in. And just to conclude, so Tridge is very much concerned about this topic of the green supply chain and sustainable agriculture. And we empower our stakeholders by providing them with up to date information, analysis, and intelligence in general so that they are aware of the different trends, the different updates regarding sustainable agriculture, and they can react to them. We also help provide them with solutions and recommendations through our reports, and so that they can figure out ways on how to make their supply chains more green. And we also take part in collaboration with these stakeholders to help them through the process. And we also take part in discussions regarding policy change. And we are also very keen on expanding our portfolio regarding this. So we definitely invite more suppliers and buyers to engage with us as we move towards a more green future. Thank you.
So, hi
Thank you
everyone.
so much, MC, for your presentation. Now we will move over to one of our experts, external experts, Orlua. Please take over.
Thank you very much, Gabriela. My name is Orolua Ola, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher at the Chair of Governance in International Agribusiness at the Technical University of Munich. And today I'm going to talk briefly about a project that exemplifies the theme of this particular webinar, which is a new technology that has the potential to facilitate the sustainable and efficient production of dried fruits. So the project is called Green Dried Fruits. So just to give you a short summary of what I intend to talk about, the first part of the presentation will focus on the technology itself, and the second part we will talk about some of the research that we've done so far and the results that we got from the interviews and data that we've collected. So sorry, can you please move to the next? So, dry fruits are the essential part of the Mediterranean diet, which has drawn a lot of attention in the past few years due to several external shocks to the food system that has exposed how vulnerable the food system is, and it has also highlighted the need to have very resilient and sustainable food systems. And as a result, there is a renewed attention on the Mediterranean diet. And dried fruits are an essential part of that diet. They are functional because they contain essential nutrients and vitamins, and they're also durable because they have very long shelf life and can be stored for long periods of time. And I have two numbers for you here that emphasizes how important dried fruits are becoming. In 2020, the market size for dry fruits was about $7.4 billion, and this is expected to grow to $9.9 billion in 2027. In the EU, the dry fruits market grows annually by 9%, starting from 2013. And from the research that we know, I think these are conservative estimates that about the growth of and about the growth of dried fruits, and also it speaks to how important they are becoming in our everyday diet. The main issue now is that when it comes to dry fruits processing, there's extensive use of chemicals at the processing stage for disinfestation, for drying, and for storage. And dried fruits have a tendency to retain chemical residues, which are very harmful to our health. And also, this causes some negative environmental externalities, and it affects the quality of the dry fruits, making it very difficult to market a lot of the dry fruits that are produced by dry fruits producers and processors. And this need created um, an urgency for a new technology or technologies that could help streamline the process and make it more efficient and sustainable. And that's where we have the thermal treatment technology. So we know in the past, dry fruits were mainly processed using solar energy. And this particular technology builds on that concept in the sense that we use extreme temperatures to process dried fruits. And the potential to combine this particular technology with modern agricultural technology is what makes it a very attractive prospect for ensuring that dry fruits value chain become more sustainable. And just to give you a quick overview of how the temperature works, the dried fruits are exposed to either hot air or cold temperature to achieve insect disinfestation. And this occurs in special facilities that are built for this particular process. And as I mentioned earlier, it is more environmentally friendly than the use of chemicals. and it's also less expensive and complex to use compared to some other technologies that we have out there for dry fruits processing, such as the use of microwave or for shock freezing. And in the Green Dry Fruits project, we aim to develop and test and implement the use of this technology to facilitate resilient and sustainable dry fruits value chain. And we focus specifically on three dry fruits, which is dates in Israel, figs in Turkey, and currants in Greece. And the project encompasses a team of entomologists, economists, food technologists, and computer scientists. So all the activities that will be carried out in the project can be summarized under three main headings. So the first one involves lab experiments that are aimed at identifying some of the optimal treatment protocols to achieve insect disinfestation without compromising the quality of the dried fruits. The second part of the activities aims tries to understand some of the dynamics surrounding the adoption of the technology and the implications of introducing the technology into the dried fruits value chain from both the supply side and the demand side. And the last activity intends to develop and create a user-friendly sensor app that can be used to monitor certain parameters that are important during dry fruits processing and to facilitate the adoption of the technology. So from the Technical University of Munich, we are looking at this issue from the supply side, and we aim to answer certain questions, which include factors that affect the adoption and diffusion of the technology, the opportunities and bottlenecks the technology would create, how adopting the technology would alter the governance structures in dry fruits value chain. And as a preliminary step, we conducted a value chain analysis of the three dry fruits of interest in this in this project. So dates in Israel, currants in Greece, and figs in Turkey. So to conduct the value chain analysis, we conducted interviews with experts in the middle stage of the value chain, so those who are involved in processing. And cooperatives are an integral part of the dry fruits value chain, and we're able to secure interviews with the general manager and operations officer of several cooperatives that are involved in dry fruits processing. We're also able to interview some facility managers and research managers for some food manufacturing firms that process dried fruits. And we also talked to a team of researchers, so entomologists and food scientists, all who are familiar with the dry fruits processing, especially with regards to insect disinfestation, drying, and storage. And in addition to that, we also reviewed the literature to find numbers regarding production, imports, exports, costs, and revenue. So for the results, I will talk about some of the general results that we got so far before moving to some of the specific results that are unique to each value chain. So we know that the technology has been operational in Israel for dates processing since 2009. We know that in terms of its adoption, its compatibility with other dried fruits types and insect species could pose a threat to its adoption. And we also know that introducing the thermal treatment technology creates several opportunities in the value chain. So, for example, it could facilitate increased production of organic dried fruits. It can be combined with precision agricultural technologies. So, for example, using sensors to monitor the entire process and ensure that it is efficient. And also, there's a potential to use renewable energy sources to power some of the facilities where the processing occurs. In terms of specific results for Greece, that right now there is a huge issue with current producers. The prices they receive for their products are not enough to make a living, and oftentimes they are forced to abandon current production. But we envisage that the introducing this technology would help create new sustainability protocols that could lead to some sort of product differentiation that will be used to justify increasing prices for some of the currents that are produced in Greece. And this could have a trickle down effect to the producers in the sense that they receive higher prices for their products. In Turkey, there is ample evidence to suggest that a lot of figs that are produced in Turkey are often turned back because they contain chemical residues. And using this technology would completely eliminate the use of chemicals for dried fruits processing and pest control, making it easy to sell more volume of figs in the EU market. And also the last one, so in Israel, the technology is a bit more advanced because they've been using it for almost 15 years now, and they are looking for opportunities to automate dry fruits processing. And from the insights we got from the experts, this could help the introducing the technology, making it more widespread, and also combining it with agriculture 4.0 tools like sensors could help reduce the cost of dates production and processing. So, like I said, this is just a first step in this project for us. In the next steps, we are trying to explore how introducing this technology would lead to more sustainable dried fruits value chain. And to do that, we are trying to understand how, first of all, it can facilitate conversion from conventional dry fruits processing to organic dry fruits processing. We're also trying to understand and predict the factors that would affect its adoption. And also, there's a general tendency in the literature to focus on, when we talk about sustainability, there's a tendency to focus on the actors in the extreme ends of the value chain, so producers and consumers. In this particular instance, we are focusing on actors in the middle stage of the value chain. And lastly, we're also trying to understand the relevance of the features of food technology and what role they play in managers' adoption decisions. Also of interest to us, I think this is research that will be carried out by our partners, but it's also interesting to us to know how to identify the best labeling mechanisms to communicate some of the new sustainability protocols to consumers, and also to understand consumer trade-offs regarding dried fruits, physical, nutritional, and sustainability attributes. And as I've mentioned earlier, also there's the need to establish treatment protocols for other dried fruits types. This is something that is relevant for future research. And then lastly, exploring the opportunities that using renewable energy sources to power this technology might provide. So, in conclusion, there is a very huge opportunity provided by introducing this technology because it provides a foundational framework to ensure that dry foods value chains become much more sustainable. And we are very much excited into digging deep into how this could come about. And one of the reasons why we're presenting this I'm presenting here today is to get lots to see how this will be received by those who process dried fruits, to get their opinion on what they think about the technology and how that would inform our research. So thank you very much for the opportunity and also for having me.
Thank you, Arloa, for that wonderful and insightful presentation. Uh, and thank you to MC and our other presenters as well. Now we're heading to our panel discussion. We're going to discuss 3 questions that will help us understand a little bit more our green supply chain topic today. And we will get started with our first question, which will be for our external participants. What specific research area is Technical University of Munich, Milano currently focusing on in the context of green supply chain management in agriculture? Elisa, would you like to get us started?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me today here. I am assistant professor at the University of Milan, working at the Department of Environmental Science and Policy. And I'm working directly with Dr. Ola on this project that I'm also, of which I'm also deputy coordinator. I posted in the chat the link of our website, so feel free to email us if you want more information on what we are doing. And now to go back to your question, what we are specifically doing is having a very interdisciplinary approach, and we are trying to understand in which way we can contribute to increase not just the sustainability of the supply chain, as Ore was explaining, of course, with these new technologies that we are developing, but we are also trying to understand how the impact of our project can be extended to a number of other durable commodities. So in this case, we are focusing on the treatment, especially the pest management in post-harvest stages, and we are trying to substitute unsustainable technologies with thermal treatments, as Ore was saying. Our part is more related to the economic aspects, because the TUM University is actually dealing with the analysis of the supply chain, and instead in Milan we are more focused on the opposite supply, on the opposite side of the supply chain, which is consumers. So basically we will analyze in which way consumers will evaluate these products which are produced with sustainable technologies, so they have sustainable attributes and characteristics, and we will also evaluate whether they will be willing to pay more, for instance, for those labels that Ore was mentioning before, that the firms can use to signal to the consumers that those products are more sustainable compared to common ones. We are actually trying to set up the protocols, and these protocols should allow all producers to use the technologies in a very automated way, so that all conditions can be highly controlled and therefore very reliable. And we are also setting up the technologies. So basically what we are imagining and developing is a prototype of a simple app for mobile phones that can work together with sensors that are put inside the pellets in the storage facilities. And in this way, for producers, it should be very easy to check all the parameters of humidity, etc., and operate in a very sustainable way. It's not just that, because another advantage should be the fact that with these technologies and with these processes that are highly controlled, we should be able to also reduce energy demand, energy requirements, compared to common thermal treatments that are sometimes used in countries like Israel for dates, and in some cases, but it's not very spread, using coal with figs in Turkey. So that's another point that we will focus on from an economic perspective, working together. So TUM University and us, we will analyze economic aspects of, and comparing data with regard to the cost of energy and the cost of the whole process, to ensure that in this case also economic sustainability will be ensured with these technologies.
Thank you so much, Elisa, for your insight to this question. Dr. Oliwa, would you like to elaborate further?
So I think Professor Demaki already mentioned some of the key parts of the projects that we're looking at least from the economic side. The other thing that I wanted to maybe stress is the ability to extend this particular technology to other durable commodities as well. So at the moment, we are focused on dried fruits, specifically on dates and currants and figs. but there's also the potential to extend the use of the technology to other durable commodities like fruits and vegetables. And I think overall, this could contribute to much more sustainable and green supply chains when it comes to food processing. Because as I mentioned earlier as well, the external shocks we've had to the systems in the last few years, so from COVID, from the war, has turned more attention towards durable food commodities. And the one way to do that is by processing some of the fruits and vegetables that we eat without compromising their nutritional and sensory quality into more dried agricultural commodity. And in that particular instance, this technology could play a very important role.
Thank you so much, Elisa and Orwa, for your answer on this question. It was definitely very insightful. Now we will head over to our second question that it's addressed to our Tridge members. And the question is, can you share examples of successful collaborations between Tridge and agricultural businesses that have embraced sustainable practices? Vivian, would you like to get us started on this question?
Okay, hi. This is Vivian from Tridge Trade Development APAC team, and I'm mainly focusing on China market development. So for this question, I have two examples I want to share here. The first one is eco-friendly greenhouse partnerships within China. So Tridge has successfully partnered with the suppliers in China who operate eco-friendly greenhouse, specializing in cultivation of tomatoes and lettuce. Our trade serving as a connection between buyer and supplier, and our team mainly focus on help the suppliers to access to global markets with a focus on APAC region. Our efforts and concentrate on market entry strategy and buyer development, leveraging our unique data insights and extensive buyer network to help these suppliers to enhance their visibility and marketability. This collaboration underscores our commitment to promoting sustainable supply chain in the agriculture sector. And the second case I want to share is organic food sourcing for Japanese buyers. So within our APAC team, we have established relationship with Japanese buyers who are really interested in organic food sourcing. So we are currently focusing on helping products from China. So our role is to extend beyond matchmaking. We actively assist in identifying suitable suppliers for them and conducting necessary factory and product inspections to ensure the quality standards are met. So this is part of our border of fulfillment service, just as introduced in our official website. So our comprehensive approach supports both buyers and suppliers in achieving their sustainability goals, demonstrating Tridge integral in fertilizing in environmentally responsible in agriculture practice. So this is two cases from my side for this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian, for your insight on what Tridge is doing. Alper, would you like to elaborate further and give us some other examples?
Yeah, thank you, Vivian, for sharing real cases with us. I will talk about what we did and what we are doing generally. Here are examples of successful collaboration between Tridge and agriculture businesses. For supply chain transparency initiatives, we have collaborated with leading agricultural businesses to enhance transparency in our supply chains by providing comprehensive data and information about the origins of products, including details about farming practices, environmental impact, and social responsibility. We have helped businesses make informed decisions about sourcing sustainably produced agriculture products. For promotion of sustainable farming practices, we have also partnered with agriculture businesses to promote and support the adoption of sustainable farming practices. through initiatives such as providing educational resources, facilitating training programs, and connecting farmers with experts and resources. We have helped implement the practices like organic farming, agroforestry, and regenerative agriculture. For market access for sustainable products, we have also collaborated with agriculture businesses to help them access markets for sustainably produced agriculture products by connecting them with buyers who prioritize sustainability, facilitating certifications and verifications of sustainable practices, and assisting with marketing and branding strategies. We have highlighted their commitment to sustainability. Research and development projects, we have also partnered with businesses on research and development projects aimed at developing innovative solutions to sustainability challenges in agriculture. Through collaborations with universities and research institutions and other stakeholders, we have explored new technologies, practices, and approaches that improve the environmental and social sustainability of agricultural production. For policy advocacy and stakeholder engagement, we also collaborated with businesses to advocate for policies and regulations that support sustainability. By engaging with policymakers, industry associations, and other stakeholders, we have promoted sustainable practices, addressed regulatory barriers, and driven positive change across the agricultural sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Alper, for your wonderful insight. Now we're going to head to our third questions where all of our panelists will participate today. And that question is, are there specific policies or regulations that the industry should advocate for to promote a greener and more sustainable agricultural supply chain? Dr. Oliwa, would you like to get us started with this question, please?
Sorry, I had issues with my microphone, so yeah. Um, so I think, and this is just my personal opinion, anyways, and not backed by any form of legislation. Um, I think there needs to be more collaboration between producers and processors to ensure that there are no spillover effects when it comes to agricultural production. I think oftentimes when we talk about sustainability, especially in the context of introducing new products that are much more environmentally friendly than the traditional products that we're used to, there are spillover effects. So we use more land, we use more resources, transportation is way more expensive, which increases the carbon footprint of the products that we produce. And in that regard, I think if there is increased collaboration between producers and cooperatives, between cooperatives and processors and food manufacturing firms in industry, I think there's a potential to cut back on some of the spillover effects and leakages that occur when we introduce new products that we market as sustainable. So that's what I think for the moment on successful policies or specific policies or regulations that could help make green that could help make agricultural supply chains more sustainable and more green than what we have right now. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us your opinion. Alyssa, would you like to give us your opinion on this topic?
Yeah, so I tend to agree with Ore, and this is actually based on the deep analysis of the supply chain that, especially him, is conducted within the project that we are dealing with. So I agree with him and with his opinion, honestly. Something else, and it's my opinion in this case. So I think that probably we should do more to really give incentives meaning real motivations for the stakeholders operating in a supply chain to transition towards sustainability, because this approach, I mean, operating in a sustainable manner might be complicated sometimes, especially for very small firms. It might be costly to adapt processes and to adapt to new regulations, etc. So if we don't really provide good motivations and incentives to the firms to do this step and to go towards sustainability, then they don't really have any true reason to engage into sustainability. So if we can facilitate this transition, I think this might be a good contribution and a good incentive for them to be really more sustainable.
Thank you, Lisa, for your opinion. I don't know if Vivian, would you like to add anything further?
Yes, so from my side, if I add one policy for have to develop a more greener and sustainable agriculture supply chain, I want to mention that we need the improvement of working conditions with the agriculture sectors. It may include the enforcement of fair labor practice or guarantee of health and safety standards. So by these social standards, I think it can help to contributing to overall well-being of the workers and the community to involved in the agriculture productions. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Vivian. Alper, I don't know if you want to finish us up with this question.
Sure. I will talk about some key areas where policies and regulations could focus, include environmental conservation under this land use regulations, policies that promote sustainable land use practices, such as zoning regulations to protect agricultural land from urbanization and incentives for conservation easements, water management, also regulations to promote efficient water use in agriculture, including water pricing mechanisms, irrigation efficiency standards, and measures to reduce pollution from agricultural runoff, biodiversity protection, policies to conserve and restore natural habitats, such as regulations to protect endangered species and incentives for habitat restoration and agricultural lands. Under climate change mitigation and adaptation, carbon pricing, implementing of carbon pricing mechanisms to incentivize emissions reductions in agriculture and encourage the adoption of climate smart practices, renewable energy policies to promote the use of renewable energy in agriculture, such as incentives for on-farm renewable energy production and research funding for renewable energy technologies, climate resilience regulations to support farmers in adapting to climate change, including insurance schemes and climate-related risks and incentives for the adoption of resilient crop varieties and farming practices. Under sustainable agriculture practices, organic farming standards, regulations to support and enforce organic farming standards, including certification requirements and incentives for transitioning to organic production. Uh, Regenerative agriculture policies to promote regenerative farming practices, such as research funding technical assistance programs, and financial incentives for implementing soil health practices, integrated pest management IPM regulations to encourage the adoption of IPM strategies, including restrictions on the use of synthetic pesticides and incentives for implementing biological pest control methods. And under supply chain transparency and fair trade, the traceability requirements, regulations to ensure traceability throughout the supply chain, including labeling requirements and certification programs to verify sustainable production practices, a fair trade standards policies to promote fair and equitable trade practices, including certification programs, price premiums for sustainably produced goods, and support for farmer cooperatives and collective marketing initiatives. And finally, support for smallholder farmers and rural communities, access to resources, policies to improve access to land, credit, and technical assistance for smallholder farmers, including targeted subsidies and extension services. For rural development, investment in rural infrastructure such as roads, markets, and processing facilities to support sustainable agricultural development and enhance economic opportunities in rural communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alper, and to the rest of our panelists for answering these questions and giving us an insight into the green supply chain and also some examples. Now we will head over to answer a couple of questions that were posted on our chat during our webinar. Thank you for everyone who participated and posted questions. We will try to address a couple of them before our time is up. So to get started, we have one question that was directly sent to Dr. Olwa, and it was, what kind of fruit converted into dry fruits is the most profitable for farmers? If you could give us a couple of examples, that would be ideal. Thanks.
At the moment, I think the most profitable dry fruits that I know is dates, specifically the Medjool date variety produced in Israel. A lot of farmers, a lot of date producers in Israel, because they have quite a wide range of date varieties in Israel, but there's a huge number of farmers right now, date plantation farmers right now in Israel, who are transitioning to Medjool production. So off the top of my head, I would say Medjool production for dates. Obviously, you need favorable temperature and climate conditions to be able to cultivate dates anywhere you are. The other one that I know of, I think it's figs. So figs is quite profitable, not in the sense that it has higher prices, but in the sense that the costs of production are not so high. So figs is another profitable dried fruit that I know of. For the rest, I think just moving away from dried fruits now and looking at some of the conventional fruits that we have, and also being able to create new market channels by drying some of the waste that we have from those fruits. So think apple, think bananas. We have dried apple, dried bananas, dried pineapples. So those are alternative ways to create new market channels. When you have leftovers from your fresh fruits, you can dry them and sell them in the market. So that, I think those are instances where I think one could have a very profitable business venture when it comes to dried fruits.
Thank you so much for your insight. Is there any other of our panelists or presenters who would like to add to this question, or we can go to the next one?
Yes, Gabriela, if I may add something.
Of course, go ahead, please.
So, Ora is right. Dates and figs are for sure among the most profitable dried fruits, also because they are those that are most commercialized internationally. But I would like to point some attention on an issue that we are actually discovering in the project. We are also evaluating and managing the production of currants in Greece. And the reason why Ore didn't mention this fruit among those most profitable is because the numbers are lower, because the area of production is much smaller compared to the figs and the dates. But it is also true that this kind of fruit might be much more profitable if the value chain was really valorized, because probably no one knows that this type of currants have a PDO market, and no one knows that. And even in Greece, consumers are not really able to recognize the added value and the quality of the product. So this is something not directly related with environmental sustainability, but it's still one dimension of the sustainability, the economic and also the ethical and social one, because this is, of course, has impacts on the workers in the supply chain and also the farmers, because they don't really get to have premium prices as high as they should have based on the quality of what they are producing. Just that. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us some additional insight to this question. Now let's head to our second question. And that question is how to handle problems in the supply chain regarding quality and quantity issues from the farmer side. Is there anyone who would like to get us started on this?
So I think I'll start just to offer some examples from the interviews that we conducted from the Green Dry Fruits Project and also from past research. Uh, a lot of the problem that we have with producers regarding quality concerns their inability to access new agronomic techniques. So speaking for currents, I was able to speak. I was able to interview a bunch of agronomists, and they talked about how resistant sometimes current producers are to advice given to them by some of the agronomists concerning how to properly plant currants, how to ensure that the quality of the currants that are produced and sent to the pack houses for processing, how they refuse to take such advice because they still rely so much on the old techniques that they were taught by their fathers and their fathers before them. And to a large extent, there's nothing wrong with some of this knowledge that they know. The only problem is that things have changed a bit. Prices are no longer the same as they used to be. The weather has changed, and that has changed the planting season. It has changed what happens at certain points during the year. So I know that they need rain at certain points during the planting season, during certain points of the year to get very good quality fruits. In some instances, rain never falls during that period, and you need alternative approaches to deal with some of the problems that might arise when you need rain or when you need higher temperatures. So, what I'm trying to say is that close collaboration also helps between the producers and the processors, but also just being able to provide new information, new knowledge about agronomic techniques and extension services to the farmers would go a long way in helping to address some of the quality and quantity issues that arise during agricultural production. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your answer. If we have nothing else to add, let me go to the third question for today, and that is how is Tridge helping commodity sellers and buyers address European Union deforestation regulations law that apply to cattle, cocoa, coffee, natural rubber, palm oil, soybeans and wood, and products that derive from it, What support is available for that supply chains affected by this regulation? MC, would you like to get us started on this?
Yes, definitely, Gabby. Thank you for that. So this is an issue that we've been following very closely for quite a while. So the first part of that is actually understanding what the regulations are and keeping abreast with all the developments regarding this particular regulation. So at Tridge, through our intelligence, we support our stakeholders and let them know what's currently happening and what's to be anticipated. So that's the first level. On the second level, we have tried to provide solutions for a variety of our stakeholders. Part of these solutions have been to try and offer alternative markets for them, and several of our stakeholders have approached us to do in-depth research as to how they can penetrate new markets. So, as you spoke about, Gabby, cocoa, coffee have been some of the products that have been spoken about. So, we've helped them look into new markets and how they can penetrate those markets so that they can become profitable in other regions besides the EU. Also, we have also looked into ways on how our stakeholders can also look into alternative products where this particular case can apply. So, for example, we have spoken recently about, for example, with coffee, we've spoken recently about beanless coffee as a trend that is now gaining more traction with this discussion happening with the EU deforestation. And some companies have actually looked into investing into that type of production where the coffee is, produced in a more sustainable way and will therefore not be affected by these EU regulations. So that's one example, but we have assisted in providing this type of information to our clients. And then lastly, as we say during the presentation, we are also part of the policy discussions of this nature. So, whenever these type of discussions are tabled, Tridge always makes sure to have a presence there so that we can inform and so that we can also keep our stakeholders informed with everything that's happening regarding this particular issue.
Thank you so much, MC, for your answers. So we are able to get to a fourth question. I'll just go ahead and continue, and that will be our final question. How can we reduce the carbon footprint on the sea transport of all cereals and soft commodities? Would anyone like to get us started?
Yes, I can start. By improving vessel efficiency, enhancing the energy efficiency of ships can significantly reduce carbon emissions, and utilizing cleaner fuels and implementing energy saving technologies and doing like optimizing cargo handling and storage, promoting sustainable shipping practices, investing in research and innovation, about advancing maritime technologies, alternative fuels, sustainable shipping practices can drive innovation and accelerate the transition towards low carbon shipping. Also, regulatory measures and carbon pricing can act positively to that.
Thank you so much, Alper. Is anyone else who would like to add anything additionally? Okay, if we have nothing to add, let's end with our Q&A section. Unfortunately, we were not able to get through all the questions that were posted during our webinar. However, I wanted to thank everyone who participated and sent questions on our chat, as well as our presenters and panelists, Alper, Vivian, MC, Urwa, and Elisa. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email us at intelligence@tridge.com. To wrap up quickly, today we had an overview of Tridge's perspective on supply chain and agriculture, as well as the perspective from experts from the Technical University of Munich and Milano, and panelists answer some questions on the impacts and examples of green supply chain. I understand that it was a lot of information shared today, but we were able to really go through a lot of it in a short amount of time. The presentation slides will be shared in a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours. And I wanted to share a little bit about banner ads before we are done with our presentation. And we would like to announce that our service at Tridge for banner ads in our platform has been open to a newsletter and platform advertising. It is really a great way to access over 600 monthly subscribers to our platform's Tridge users, as well as our newsletter subscribers can see ads in our platform. So Tridge is a very powerful way to reach these types of profiles. If this sounds interesting, we will be sending a presentation to you later, and you can reach out to our team. On behalf of Tridge and our presenters and panelists, we would like to thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.